Welcome to Karana CPQ. Now that we have some products added to our line items, I want to go ahead and show you some of the options that this opens up for me. You can see that I have the product image displayed optionally in the top left-hand corner. I have the name, the SKU, the variant, which I'll show you in a moment, and the product description. The name and product description can be edited directly within this interface and will save back to HubSpot at save time. But it can also be disabled so that these descriptions cannot be updated. That is useful if you have to strictly comply with the product definition and the descriptions on products directly from the product catalog. The variant editor allows me to load up different configurations, different variants of this product at the click of a button. These variants allow for different options, different order of options, different configured limits in terms of quantities, pricing schemes, etc. This allows for easy configuration of a base product, which then has additional SKU identified variants. So we'll see that this is LD work truck, but I can also do LD crew and I can do LD hybrid fleet. And these selected options have changed. Switching back to the original variant, you can see that we have a required component. This means that I cannot remove this component and I cannot change the value to 0. I am required to have at least one. And for this particular configuration, I am required to have at least one, but also at most one. So I'm locked into a single quantity, which is shown by having no editor control in order to change the quantity. We can see that for this component that makes up the bigger product, we have an individual SKU for the component, an individual description for that component, and an individual price for that component, which are added together to come up with the line level price for this line item. I can go ahead and change some of my mutually exclusive options. Mutually exclusive meaning select one and only one of the following. If we look at the regular cab, we can see that the pricing is included, and that is shown as an included pricing resolution. It's displaying the price as included. It's not adding to the total. And it is displaying the regular cab image. I can go ahead and change to the super cab. You will notice that the description changed, the SKU changed, the calculated price is now coming from a product list instead of being included, and it is altering the total line price. We can see that the image has updated. If I go ahead and I change to Super Crew Cab, again, the description has changed. The component of this product, so the bill of material, has a different SKU in it now with a different calculated price. And our image has changed. All of these options are mutually exclusive, so select one and only one from each of these dropdowns. I also have optional components, which if I go ahead and I click Add Component, see it pulls up menu, and these are optional components. I'm going to go ahead and select the tow package. The tow package does add value. It has added an additional SKU to my bill of materials. It has its own description. It has resolved its price. But it is optional, which means that I can remove this from this particular line item as a component, or I can add it. Further down the screen, we've got some configuration options. We use configuration options to capture additional information, which may or may not affect the pricing of this line item. For example, if I have the same base SKU, truck LD work, no matter the color of the vehicle, I can collect the color as a configurable parameter further down on the screen as a non-SKU based item. If it's a SKU based item or component, we will add it as a component to keep the configuration consistent. But if it is not SKU based, it's purely configuration. At that point, we will use the configuration parameters. We're collecting color, fleet purchase order number, and the state that it is being shipped to in this instance. When I change one of these options, you will see that resolving shows up down here. That is because these parameters can be set to alter the price of this line item, if appropriate. It can alter it in a couple of different ways. It can add or remove a fixed dollar amount. It can add or remove a percentage of the total for this line. Or you can use a custom formula in order to perform very specific business logic to your business or your industry to adjust the price. Useful for things like shipping, for example. Moving further down, we have private notes. This will never be shown to a client. This is internal for your team only. We have the ability to specify a discount. We can see that margin is being calculated at 12%. Margin is optional. You can do this in one of effectively two ways. The first way is by disabling the margin system so that it will not display to your sales staff. You can still capture costs, which means you can still derive margin, but it will no longer be shown to your sales staff. The other way in which you can do this is by omitting the cost data entirely. I'm not recommending you use that option, but that is another way in which that can be done. We can see that we've got a total of 1 of these vehicles, but I can increase my quantity to be whatever I would like my quantity to be. See that we've calculated a total price for these line items. So we've got 38 units at $47,000 a piece, totaling basically $1.8 million. I'm going to go ahead and just tack in a little bit of a discount there for the next section. We can see that our original price is still being displayed as a strike through so that we don't lose sight of what the original amount was. And then we see our discount calculated price over here. If we move further down the screen, we'll see that there are 5 line items on this particular quote right now with a subtotal pre-discount of $1.8 million. There is a $71,000 discount that's being applied. We are currently sitting at a blended margin, so not the margin for this particular line item, but for all line items on this quote, we're sitting at a blended margin of 8.6%, and the dollar amount for that margin is $148,000. And then finally, we see our calculated total down in the bottom corner.